Hello everyone, I am Mark Werber, your Director of Association Management Software, and thank you for attending our monthly Magic webinar. Diane Clem and Frank Rittersdorf, your excellent trainers from the AMS Support Department, have a great webinar planned for you today. They're going to present more tips and tricks chosen by Rapattoni staff and our customers. And as always, this presentation is coming to you live from our multimedia studios right here in Simi Valley, California.
And like every webinar, we do let you know what version of Magic we're in. And yes, we have now started upgrading our customers to 10.1.08. If you're not at that level, definitely give us a call. We'll get you scheduled for an upgrade. Let's talk about the agenda or some of our tips and tricks that our staff has come up with. First, we're going to talk about did you know that you can attach documents to a member record where you can easily just get to the member record and just pull it right up? Also, we have a ditto keystroke. What is that used for? We'll talk about that some more, as well as a quick email from the member option right out of the member query form or even the office query form. And then we do have a couple of recommended options and preferences and defaults form. Let's get started.
Thanks, Frank. First thing we're going to look at is how to attach documents to a member record in Magic. To get to the member record, as always, you're going to click Alt-MMM or Managers, Membership, and Member Query Form, and then select the member that you want to work on. Now, you may have a member in front of you and you want to pull up a relevant document or you want to add a document to that member's record. Select your record and click on the Documents button to the right. Here we have a document already present in this form, and we're going to show you how to add one. Go into Modify mode and use your F4 key to add a line. Now you can use F5 to zoom into your computer. We recommend you store the document in a drive that's accessible to anyone working in membership who's going to need to see these documents or have access to them. In this case, we're going to select this document here, and we're going to zoom into the document type. Magic allows you to categorize your documents by document type. If you don't see anything in your system that makes sense to you or relates to the document that you're storing, you can use F4 and add a line and create a new document type. Here we're going to create a new type for a membership application. And then assign that type to our document. Now we can give it a brief description that'll make sense to anyone looking at it so they know exactly what they're going to be pulling up if they want to take a look at that document. Magic by default will use the current date. You can enter any date you want there, and you can assign it an active or an inactive status. Now, once the documents are in, you can simply click the View Document button and see the document right there on your screen, and you have it available to you to either view or print or whatever you need to do. You don't have to go running to the filing cabinet anymore or interrupt anyone while they're working in that same room. You can simply open the member record and click on Documents and view the document. Let's review. Attaching a document to a member record in Magic is easy. You simply select a path to the document by using your F5 key and zooming into your computer. We recommend a drive that's shared by anyone working in membership. The document type can be assigned so that you can go ahead and organize your documents in any manner that you want to. It's a free-form table. You can create your own types. The View Document button will allow you to pull the document up where you can either look at it or you can print it out if necessary.
Thanks, Diane. That's a great tip. Now let's talk about the ditto keystroke. And no, we're not in the movie Ghost with Whoopi Goldberg, Demi Moore, and Patrick Swayze. This actually is a very functional keystroke within Magic, and let's take a look how we do that and how we would use that. So there's a couple of different areas we're going to show you, but first I'm going to take you to the Managers accounting into the charge codes. So I'm going to go Billing Processes, Billing Setup, Charge Code Table. So let's say, in our use case here, we're going to say we need to create our dues billing for the next year or for this year. We're actually very behind. We still have not created our 2014 dues. I don't know how we're going to get this all done, all within a couple of weeks. So what I'm going to do is, because I know I have 2013 already created, I'm going to pull them up. And you can see I have 2013 dues here. I'm going to go ahead and hit F5 and actually get into modify mode, or take a look into the charge code information form here. And from here I can do a Control E, which is to establish or create a new charge code. Now your first field is going to be a unique ID. In this case we're just going to do 2014 L. So it's going to be very similar to what we did last year. From here, once I tab into the next field, I can actually do Control D for ditto, and it will actually populate all the fields that were already with the same values that were populated in the 2013 dues. Now, you definitely want to look, for instance, description is 2013. I do want to change that to 14. And let's say your price might have changed from last year to this year. You definitely want to go in and take a look what changes do need to be made, but it's a very nice, efficient way to create those charge codes. Also take notice that 2014, the billing year, 2014, was defaulted, and I will show you where that is set up in just a few minutes. Now another area that you can use this that can be very helpful for you is actually going back into the accounting, into billing sources and non-recurring charges. We're going to go into non-recurring charges entry form. I'm going to go into the bill group because my use case scenario is this. In this case, we're going to talk about the MLS, where we have a number of members that have used more photos on the MLS listing than what is allowed through the MLS. So we do need to give them an extra charge. So I'm going to go here to the member, and I see I already have an additional photos here. I'm going to get into modify mode and hit F4 to create another line. I'm going to zoom in and find the member. And from there I can use the Control D. Everything gets populated. I do it again, zoom in, find the next guy that I know that it needs to be charged, and then Control D and go through. As you can see, this is very easy and efficient for you to enter a large number of the same items in your non-recurring charges billing.
Excellent.
Let's
time
review.
saver.
So let's talk about that ditto keystroke. First, you're going to open an existing, or maybe or something you just created. From there, you're going to do Control E or F4 to establish a new item. You want to make sure you put your unique ID, whether that's the member or even in this case the charge code ID. And then from there you can Control D to ditto or copy from the previously opened item when it's applicable. Make any changes you need to make to keep it relevant for that new charge code. And as you can see, it's really efficient.
And now we're going to look at another feature called Quick Email to Member. You may not know that you can send a quick email to your member right from the member or office query form. Let's go to Magic and take a look at that. Again, we're going to go to the member query form and select a member. Without even having to open the member query form, you can select their association email and click the small button to the right of that email, and Magic will automatically open Outlook, launch Outlook, it does have to be open, and populate the to field. All you have to do is type in your subject and the body of your email. It's that quick. Now, if you are in a member's record and you think you need to contact their DR or the office for some reason, you can click on the Office Query button. And there are also buttons available here. You can click on the responsible member's email and send an email directly to the DR with any information that you have regarding that member that you're working on. So those are very useful, quick, and easy buttons to use to send emails and communicate with your membership.
But I also think it's very much can be overlooked.
Oh, definitely overlooked. Overlooked, underused. Let's review. Send a quick email to members by opening the member query form. Look for the email address section of the member query form and click on the small email button to the right of the email address. An Outlook message form will open automatically with the member's email address pre-populated.
Thanks, Diane. Now let's take a look at some of the recommended options that we have in our preferences and defaults form. A lot of you probably have no idea that there is a preferences and defaults form, so let's take a look and show you where that's at. Let's get into Magic. So first we're going to go to Managers. Go down to the System Setup, Preferences and Defaults, and Preferences and Defaults form. Now as you can see, we have a whole list of options to set up some defaults or some preferences. We're going to cover 3 fields out of this form. The first we're going to cover is the default year. And I've already kind of showed you where one place where this will affect in Magic when you change this year. This is the year you should change right at the beginning of the year, like in January. So definitely make sure, if you guys to check this, to make sure that your association has changed the default year to 2014. Just going to do that by getting into modify mode and type in the year. Another place this will show is actually in the committee term years, and we'll show that we'll show that in a little bit. The next couple of fields that we want to cover is something called the default charge authorization to yes or no. As you can see here, we have it automatically defaulted to yes. So when we add new members, in the preferences on that member record, it will automatically say yes, this member can charge amounts to their AR. So they don't have to pay right then and there, and you guys will bill them later. Now, the next field that we have here is to check that. Because even though you can default to yes, where all new members are coming in, that yes, they can charge, you can also make it to where you can change the members on an individual basis. And so this will check it. So as you're going to the sales invoice form, if they are marked to no, they cannot charge to their account, then you will get a warning message saying that this member cannot charge. And this is where you would check this. And we have it marked as yes. Please check this when we try to create a sales invoice. Let's take a look where these defaults affect Magic. First I'm going to take you to is the committee. Committee forms by committee. We have our board directors, and I'm going to click in here and add a new board director. So when I do Control E, I'm there to add a member, but if you look at the bottom, you can see the year, the to and the from and the through year. This is derived from that default year in the preferences, defaults and preferences form. And of course, I've already kind of casually advised you on the charge code, but let's take another quick look. I'm going to open up the charge code I just created by using Control D or Ditto. I'm going to zoom in, and you can see here this is the billing year, and that defaulted in. I did not have to change that. Even though I was copying it or dittoing it from 2013, it automatically entered 2014 for you or for us because of that defaults and preferences form. So let me take a look. Let's first go look into the member example that we had here, Thomas Adams. And let's take a look in his preferences, because this is where we're going to show the authorized to charge. In the preferences, right there in the very middle, you have authorized to charge. Now, this gentleman is not charged. He must have taken advantage of the privilege. We must have already unchecked him and said, no, he is not allowed to charge because he is not paying his amounts on time. So we've already unchecked. So let's see what that looks like when we actually try to make a invoice for him or create a sales invoice for him. So I'm going to go to the sales invoice form. This time I'm going to pull it right from the ribbon at the top here. I'm going to select a batch. I'm going to pull in our member. And right away, I got a not authorized to charge. So this way, your staff will know, hey, this guy needs to pay right now. Now, if you did decide to turn off the warning message That's the check on the defaults preferences page there. We do have a field here that lets you know if they're allowed to charge or not. In this case, it says N for no, so we know he's not allowed to charge. But I always love that little extra warning popping right in my face, right when I'm trying to get through my work on my day. And, sometimes you're going to glance over a field like this, but that warning, there's no way you can miss that. So again, so let's review. So to find this form, we're going to go to Managers, System Setup, Preferences, and Defaults. You can change the default year in areas such as charge codes, as well as the committee term year. As well as we do have the global default to change for authorized to charge. And again, that's when you're entering new members, it automatically defaults to yes or no, whatever you set in this default form. So they're already automatically set up into there as how you want it. But for some reason you decide that members are taking advantage of that privilege, or you have a couple of great grade A members that can charge. They're the top of the notch. You can change it on an individual basis, and also you can actually check to see if they are authorized, and you'll get that nice warning message when you are looking at the sales invoice form.
And we hope that our webinar on staff tips and tricks has been useful and informative for you. Today we covered how to attach documents to a member record in Magic, and we looked at ditto keystrokes, how to quickly and easily copy a charge code or non-recurring charges to save you some time using existing information from a previously created one. We also showed you how to send a quick email to a member or DR directly from the member or office query form. And we also took a look at recommended options in preferences and default forms, such as the default year in Magic and whether or not you want to see a warning of whether a member can be allowed to charge when you're posting an invoice on their account.
And now it's time for the questions and answers section. With the documents, so I'm assuming it's with the posting the documents to the member record, is this really just a link to where the doc is saved, so it's not loaded to the server? And I would answer that as no. That actually is, you save the document. We recommend putting it on the server on a shared drive so everybody has access to it. But if you wanted, you're the only one going to have access, you could put on your local drive if you needed to. I wouldn't recommend that. But again, you're just saving the file somewhere on your network, preferably the shared drive. And that way, anybody that comes into that member record pulls up the document, and they are able to view that document.
Oh, here's a good question. Can you control D for the prorated section of the charge code? And the answer to that question is unfortunately not. The ditto function does not work on the proration section of the charge code.
Okay, another question on documents. Once a document is attached to a member record, can it be deleted from the shared drive and still be attached to the member record? The answer is yes. If you attach a member record through the link in Documents, and then you delete the record from the shared drive, the link is still going to be there. Just when you click on it, it's going to say something like file not found. So if you delete the record from the shared drive, it's probably best to also delete that line item in the Documents area.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
So I guess this is a continuation regarding the document, where to save that file, the document file. It's on a public network, but not on the RAP server. So again, wherever it's on your particular network, I don't believe it has to be on the Rapattoni server, but it has to be on a shared drive within your network, and everybody should have access to that file. Does F4 always replace Control E when creating any new item? I would not say always. We use F4 a lot of times when you have a list and each item has a line item. F4 opens up a new space, and that is very similar to Control E. But Control E will always be able to use Control E when you're trying to create or establish a new item.
F4 is sort of an add a line feature.
Yes.
And we have another question here. Can I use the quick email button to send an email using Gmail or Yahoo? Magic will always use Outlook to send the email. Although I understand you can set up Outlook to look at your Gmail and Yahoo, Magic will always pull up Outlook, but not Gmail or Yahoo.
If you have any more questions, looks like that's what we have today, but if anything comes to mind later, please email us at webinars@rapattoni.com. Thank you very much. And now it's time for Mark's favorite section of the webinar, the Rapattoni 411. Give us the lowdown, Mark.
Well, today I'd like to point out the version of Magic we're running. If you've been watching these webinars for a while, you'll notice at the beginning of each webinar, we make a point of always clarifying the version of Magic running. The reason is the version installed may include numerous improvements, enhancements, and bug fixes. Your organization may not even have the latest version of Magic running. You can always find what version of Magic you're running by going into Magic and looking under the Help menu About Support. Let's show them where that is. So we're going to go back to Magic, go to the Help pull down, select About Support, and then in the upper left corner, you'll always see that version of Magic running. If it's something less than 10.1.08 alpha, then you're running an older version of Magic. Now, each new feature that we release is always documented and posted to the Rapattoni Corporation website. So after you confirm the version that you're currently running, you should click on the Magic Resource Center link directly there on that same Help menu. That'll take us to the Rapattoni Corporation website. On the right side of the website, there's a View What's New in Rapattoni Magic, a big red button. And if you click on that, you'll see all of our release notes. So every time we release a version of Magic, we post the notes right here for you to review. They're in PDF format. All you have to do is click on one and review all of the bug fixes, enhancements, feature improvements that are within that version of the software. By the way, scheduling an upgrade is fairly easy. All you have to do is contact your Rapattoni support representative and request a software upgrade. And one final reminder to everybody, Rapattoni never charges for software upgrades.
They are always free of charge.
That's right.
And our next Magic webinar will be held on March 26, 2014. We are going to jump into the month-end procedures. This presentation is a guide for the Magic's month-end procedures where you will verify your monthly accounting numbers using specific reports, batch your transactions, and export them for your general accounting software. This section is we're going to be really focusing on the different reports to use on part 1, and we'll go from there.
And to view past and future webinars and to register for upcoming webinars, please visit our website at www.rapattoni.com. Click on Support, Magic, Webinars and Training Videos to see a complete library of all the past webinars and also to register for any upcoming webinars. If you have additional questions, you can click on Support, Magic, and Magic Resource Articles, where there are a number of articles and frequently asked and answered questions.
Thank you all again for participating. Have a great day.